Some would say the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl window is starting to close, but from that Super Bowl last night, we could draw some conclusions as to why that is not the case. Even Josh Allen himself believes that the Super Bowl window is not closing for the Buffalo Bills. You can see Josh Allen say, no, not at all. The window is not closed. I believe in what we got here and the people that are in charge. I believe in myself, and that will never change. A short sentence, but there's a lot to unpack, and I want to kind of compare that to what we saw during this year's Super Bowl versus the Kansas City Chiefs and 49ers. Look at Kyle Shanahan. Look at Andy Reid. Look at the in-game adjustments and plays that were successful during the game. It was really the coaches. It wasn't because of all the talent. Yes, they have a lot of talent on their team, but the thing is, they put their players in position to succeed. The 49ers throwing the ball across the field to Christian McCaffrey, scoring that touchdown. And then in the second half, late into the fourth quarter, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, without Eric Bieniemy, comes out with these RPO-style plays, and Patrick Mahomes just starts running the ball. They never took into account Patrick Mahomes. And one other point I want to make here is that the dual threat ability of Josh Allen. Josh Allen has that ability too. He could throw it. He could run it. He could do the RPO style. We can mix and match. And when you have a quarterback that could throw it and be a potent passing attack and force defenses to adjust to you, don't let the opposing defense dictate. You dictate to them. And it opened up that RPO and running ability for Patrick Mahomes, which ultimately led them to win the Super Bowl. By Josh Allen's comment saying the people that are in charge, we have to understand who is ultimately in charge. It starts with Brandon Beane. Obviously, Brandon Beane coming here, the first year he was here with the Buffalo Bills, correcting all of the salary cap issues here, having to move on from so many players, including Marcel Darius, that put this team in a tough situation, and he fixed it. Year after year, he has fixed it. Even last year, we had some cap issues, and Brandon Beane works his magic and fixes it. In my previous video, I could link it above, we broke down how the Bills are going to get ahead of this negative $56 million cap space with restructures, possibly cutting some players. It's totally possible. So it starts with Brandon Beane. Josh Allen trusts Brandon Beane. I mean, look at what we have done here with Brandon Beane. Even this past season, bringing in Linval Joseph, trading for Rasul Douglas, even Nyheim Hines the year before that, bringing in Deontay Hardy, Andy Isabella. I mean, year in, year out, the Buffalo Bills find hidden gems in the NFL draft, including Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano, Trey White, 27th overall. I mean, it's not like we've been top pick in the NFL draft other than Ed Oliver for one of the years. I mean, we made playoffs every single year other than 1 year, so we're definitely not being that high up in the NFL draft, and we're perennial winners. And then it stems to Sean McDermott, head coach Sean McDermott, instilling the culture, doing some great things. But the other advantages here are all the new coaches that we brought in, including Joe Brady. When you look at what the Kansas City Chiefs did last night, when you look at what the 49ers did last night, there was a lot of creative genius, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And you don't necessarily need all the talent in the world. The Chiefs are without Tyreek Hill. You know, all the bickering throughout the season that they didn't have a true number one wide receiver, but they did have Travis Kelce, who a lot of people are saying that Dalton Kincaid is emerging to be a Travis Kelce type. So the Buffalo Bills have Stephon Diggs for next year, potentially. We have Dalton Kincaid in year 2, who's going to be a much better version of himself. So the Buffalo Bills have Josh Allen in his dual threat ability. And we have Joe Brady with his creative genius finally putting his own flair and spark on this Buffalo Bills offense. Josh Allen saying, I believe what we got going on here. And it kind of correlates with what I'm saying. The progression of Khalil Shakir, the progression of Dalton Kincaid, Joe Brady taking the realm as offensive coordinator, having a full off season to put his own spice on things. Joe Brady's going to come up with some creative play calling. I think the in-game adjustments that we saw from the 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs last night prove how valuable that ultimately is. And we heard Dan Orlovsky all throughout the year talking about complementing each other on offense, right? Having plays and having packages complement other packages, open things up for other things during the game. And the Bills literally just brought in 4 new coaches to this team. We promoted Bobby Babich to defensive coordinator, taking a little bit off the plate of Sean McDermott so he could allocate his own resources, his own energy to maybe more important things. The Buffalo Bills coaching staff is probably going to be the best coaching staff that we've had in the McDermott era for 2024. So I really think this is going to prove to be extra valuable for the Bills this upcoming season. Most importantly, Josh Allen says that he believes in himself. And what more do you need other than a quarterback who believes in himself? Josh Allen believes he's the best quarterback in the NFL. He's got the strongest arm in the NFL. All-purpose quarterback, Josh Allen, the running threat, the throwing threat. Josh Allen is absolutely remarkable, and there is no way that this Super Bowl window is closed having Josh Allen as our quarterback. I think this should take some of the worry away about losing Stephon Diggs, similar to the Kansas City Chiefs losing Tyreek Hill, and they just end up winning the Super Bowl. Really, you look at Spags, the defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, he also did a great job too, calling plays defensively, dialing up crazy blitzes in crazy moments of the game, just like we saw with Sean McDermott when our backs are up against the wall. Unlike Leslie Frazier, we went down swinging. We continued to blitz. We continued to put the pressure on the opposing quarterback. And I think with Sean McDermott, Bobby Babich, Joe Brady, all these other coaches that we have brought in for the 2024 season, it's just going to allow us to keen in on all these little details and minor adjustments during the game, just like we saw from Kyle Shanahan and Andy Reid. And yes, we don't have Brian Daboll anymore, just like the Kansas City Chiefs don't have Eric Bieniemy. They clearly did great calling offensive plays and scheming things up on the offensive side of the ball. And I really believe Joe Brady is definitely going to be presenting that for the Buffalo Bills in 2024. And who knows what Brandon Beane can do? He could easily correct the cap space. He can easily bring in an Odell Beckham. He could maybe pull in a Derrick Henry. We saw those 2 high safety shells, relatively a lower scoring game in the Super Bowl. Obviously, both teams having 2 weeks to prepare against one another. But if you are facing teams with 2 high safety shells, basically double covering both perimeter wide receivers, in order to get the defense out of that, we need to really force them to stack the box, right? And I think having a dynamic running back, a big, strong, physical running back, like a Derrick Henry, a Nick Chubb, someone like that, obviously they're going to get a lot of money, but you never know what Brandon Beane is capable of. Yes, we have James Cook. Yes, we have Ty Johnson. Yes, we have Leonard Fournette and Damian Harris and everyone else, Nyheim Hines potentially coming back too. But we have to have a bigger, thicker back. And I believe it isn't always the best idea to stack the box against a faster running back, because if you do and he breaks loose, he's gone. So having an extra man back in the defense allows him to pursue to the football a little bit easier. But against bigger physical style running backs, you really want to penetrate and not let them get going. So having a Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, bigger back makes a lot of sense to me. But I appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe. Also check the link down below. Chorus Careers is offering free introduction courses for you to land a high-paying career fully remote. They're directly partnered with employers, so they trust that their graduates are going to be ready to go when they hit the workforce. But again, I appreciate you guys. If you want to support me, make sure you hit like, subscribe. 80% of you are not subscribed. It would mean the absolute world in keeping this channel alive. But you guys are all awesome. I swear BNC attracts the best of the best. Super Bowl window is definitely not closed. Appreciate you, and go Bills.